welcome to My Life, My Business. Wish I was here. Last week, Shanaaz took us through a topic and she posed the question of is the grass greener on the other side? And it really just dealt with the dynamics of migration or immigration. And so you welcome to listen to the playback on Clubhouse or download or listen to the podcast that we've edited on the Mufasa Coaching Practice YouTube channel. So it is my turn this week. So what I wanted to talk about today is literally something that I've been exposed to for a while in my coaching practice as a tool. And when I decided, okay, it's time for me to become accredited in it, I've become a little bit more appreciative of the richness of the tool. And but I want to do it really through a book that has been written about it, which is what we do from time to time here. So, and the book is called The Enneagram at Work by Jim McPartland and Anna Agbari. So and the subtitle says Unlocking the Power of Type to Lead and Succeed. Now, it's way too much to try and summarize this book, so I'll probably just do the most essential things, touch on the most essential things, but it's all going to be about um, leadership, how to become more of an effective leader, really. So let's see how far I can get as I'm talking through this. So let me launch straight in. This book summarizes how to apply the Enneagram, which is just an emotional intelligence metric, and how this can elevate leadership in the modern workplace. And by way of introduction, they set it up in this way, where they say that success has always been linked to interpersonal relationships. And you see this recurring theme that we've been having, Shanaaz. So, to get where you want to go, you need to connect with others on an emotional level. And there are those who seem to possess an innate aptitude for connection and leadership. But for most of us, guiding and inspiring others requires discipline, time, and self awareness. And enter the Enneagram, which is a centuries old framework that will help you better understand others, foster self discovery, and serve as a roadmap to achieving your full potential. The Enneagram can help you capitalize on your strengths and chuck your weakness. So, on your weaknesses. So, what is this Enneagram actually? Oh, before we get into that, is the benefits of this Enneagram from a leadership perspective. So, possessing an awareness of your assets and your blind spots, both in terms of yourself and your colleagues, is really invaluable. And therefore, also knowing what makes you and around you tick. And they also mention, on the converse, store is an invisible superpower that can boost your trust, morale, productivity, and profit. Now, this particular tool also provides a springboard for cultivating that self awareness. So, first and foremost, it won't try and fix you, because its underlying message is that you are fine as you are, but it makes the comment that being does not equal knowing. So, interesting take there. So it does reveal your behavioral patterns and help you build on the strengths that benefit you while demonstrating how to release patterns that don't. And as you work on shedding ingrained habits and behaviors to reveal your true core, you may be met with resistance both internally and externally. And it's an interesting thing. When I first did this assessment, in fact, it was not the first time. I think it's after the third time I did this assessment, and my type changed. I did not like what I saw. I violently resisted the assessment results, believing that it was totally inaccurate. And normally they say is when it elicits um, that kind of response, then it is the most accurate. So anyway, it's interesting. But but by gaining a comprehensive understanding of who you truly are, what motivates you, and how you connect with your peers, you will grow and evolve. And just to point out that this particular assessment tool is all about your motivations. What's at the heart of why you do what you do? To cultivate self-awareness, deeper self states of self-awareness, starts with self-acceptance, is really the key. And following that is practicing patience is also essential, meaning, you take things slow, and being open about the process with yourself and those around you, and this will give you a better chance of achieving the behavioral metamorphosis that you're striving toward. Now, um, to use the Enneagram, um, is to discover your true essence. And Ennea means nine, and gram means written. So, and what you'll normally see with the graphics is that this is the Enneagram is evenly spaced around a circle connected by a nine-pointed star of nine personality types. Now, each one of these types is associated with a certain pattern of behavior that can be used to glean insights into the inner workings of yourself and those around you. So I'm going to take you through these personality types, but I mean not really in any particular in-depth way. And for those of you here and for those of you listening afterwards, is to, as I describe these types, is to see which one of these actually resonates with you. So I'm going to ask the question. So Shanaaz, here goes. I'm not going to put Claudine on the spot, but
You
definitely.
can ask me, but okay, so maybe it's changed because I've done this before. So I know which number I was. But you can do it again and then we can see which number I
Oh,
came up with.
oh, I see now.
Okay.
Okay. Number one. Oh,
But maybe,
okay.
but it's apparently it can change. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you can be mistyped,
Okay.
and mistyping
Hmm.
can occur because of an extreme set of circumstances where you're experiencing pressure or stress,
Okay.
and your behavior informs you or affects you to such an extent that you answer out of your core or out of your behavioral type rather than delving into the core motivations that sits behind the behavior. So it's like dealing with the context rather than being yourself in the context, if you understand.
Okay. But yeah, I'm fine to be a guinea pig again. Yes.
It was like the safer option, but I mean,
No,
the
no,
thing
it's fine.
about,
I know the questions. Yes. More or
yes.
less, I can remember.
So there aren't really questions, but the point is that if you already know your type, you probably have accepted the type, and you've recognized that the characteristics of the type. You may have accepted the characteristics of the type
Yeah.
also, like
Yeah.
like in my case. And you know what they say about the Enneagram, when it measures true motivation, that it doesn't then change. But as I pointed out, mistyping can occur for sure. All
Okay.
right, so let's go with that in actual fact. And type number one is what's known as the strict perfectionist. And basically, a strict perfectionist comprises people who are driven by what should be done. They have high ethical standards and can be very critical both of themselves and of others.
Okay, so can I tell you something? Sorry to interrupt here.
No
So
problem.
one that I didn't say those, it wasn't called the strict perfectionist. I think it was a version of the Enneagram, and it was actually called the reformer, which
Ah.
I kind of identify with. So but I guess that there are elements, but yeah, I'm not gonna interrupt you anymore. I'm just going to say
No, no, I'm happy. I'm happy to have the conversation because
no,
yeah,
so
there's
continue. So maybe it's slightly different, the version that you are having, and so I can. I can listen and then hear in, yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
go ahead and behave.
Claudine, you're quite welcome to comment also. So let's move on to type two, is considered the considerate helper. And this type is happy to sacrifice their own needs in order to support others, in the belief that this will garner love and devotion. Um, Type 3 is what's known as the competitive achiever, and type 3s forego feelings in favor of professional success, and for whom goals and status are paramount. Type 4 is the intense creative, and intense creatives want to feel special. They are very emotional. They crave deep personal connection and are drawn to dramatic situations. Type 5, they are known as quiet specialists. They prize logic and intellectual reasoning and can be emotionally detached. Specialists thrive in peaceful environments where they can process world's demands. Now, type 6, they are known as loyal skeptics. They are warriors. They doubt their own power, however, and that of others, and are always ready for the worst case scenario. Type 7, they are known as enthusiastic visionaries. They are charming, they are upbeat and adventurous. Their fear of being limited by commitment drives them to see life as a string of infinite possibilities. And they also suffer from the fear of missing out. I'm missing out on anything new and novel, adventurous, etc. And type 8 are known as the active controllers, and otherwise known as the boss, because it's really this type likes being in control. They are assertive, straightforward, and they respect skilled mental or physical sparring, but sometimes neglect to notice others' feelings. And then lastly, the type nines are adaptive peacemakers. And adaptive peacemakers, they are really the diplomat type by nature who can see all sides of the equation. And for peacemakers, decision making is difficult as every option has its merits. Saying no is also a challenge, and going with the flow is easier than charting their own course. So Shanaz, what do you think? I mean, it's
So, yes.
you remember the names of the
Yes.
other
So I
types?
went to go have a look while you were talking. So apparently, the Enneagram Institute goes with the ones that I suggest, like I said, the Reformer, and there are a few other names, and you're using the Integrative Enneagram version. So I wouldn't, I may have perfectionistic traits, but I very much identify with the Enneagram Institute's version of my personality, and that is someone with a mission driven to improve the world. So it so that, and I can see that I can connect more to that, their version of how they describe me, than what I can connect to the integrative version. I don't think that I am a perfectionist. I think there may be, I may have certain traits, but I think that I connect more and can see more. So they also talk about that but I agree that I always want to put things right. And I guess that there are connections between your version and the other version that I know in terms of the ethical stuff, and you want to set things right. So they are connections. But I would move slightly away from the idea that we are at our core perfectionists.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm referencing the integrative enneagrams workbook, and when they refer, and even if you say is it's just you said something about just give me that description again.
Sorry, I'm worried I'm gonna lose if I go and find it. Then I'm going to lose what I'm going to say. Oh yeah. So they say it's called the reformer. They are motivated by the need to live rightly and driven by a longing for a true, just, and moral world. Um, they are loyal, dedicated, conscientious, helpful, well balanced, and often good humored. They are efficient, organized, and trustworthy in completing tasks. So that's the Enneagram Institute's version of number one, type one.
But it sounds very similar because
Yes, so they are similar. They are similar. They are similar traits. But I will, how can I say, I will acknowledge that maybe if I protest too much about being the perfectionist, that there may be some of that in, but there isn't really. I don't really think I am.
You
It
know,
may be in my, I think in my, um, when I'm under stress, I think I can default there.
hmm
Yeah.
uh, Claudine, were you saying something there?
yeah, I just wanted to ask a question.
Mm,
Um, I don't know how the Enneagram works,
mm,
but some other tools that I've been exposed to at work
mm,
allows you, or not allows you, but it can say that you might be a combination of one or two, where you like dial up one that's
hmm
like most significant, but then you also have traits of another one. Um, does the Enneagram work the same way in that you can sit on a certain number, but also have traits within a like a secondary one?
Oh,
If that
oh,
makes sense.
absolutely. It's a complex tool, but yes, you're absolutely right. It also measures your integration, meaning how well you are able to first and foremost exhibit the mature, optimal characteristics of a type, but also how you embrace the other types. Because we all have elements of these nine types in us, and it's just a question of which is dominant. And
Um,
there are
that's
there are
the word.
there are two things that you would look at when you think about the Enneagram. It's what is your wing type. For example, wing type would be if we're talking about the strict perfectionist now. Next to the strict perfectionist is a adaptive peacemaker, and then also number two, which is the considerate helper. So those are wing types. Then you've got line types. For the a strict perfectionist, it's a line type is a number seven, for example, enthusiastic visionary, as well as an intense creative. So all these things are there. They present. They manifest in certain ways, and yeah, it is definitely. So if you're sitting at moderate to high integration, you begin to exhibit a lot more of the different types, literally. So, but what I'm saying, Shanaz, you put your finger right on the thing where you said I'm beginning to protest too much. As you were reading the summary of that particular version one, is at the very core of a strict perfectionist is you have to do the right or the good thing. And if I look at it, the words that describe it as strong values, careful, self controlled, have integrity, critical, and the word that you don't like, perfectionist, idealistic. But the qualities is, and I'll just share this one, is principled. Enneagram one's value integrity and lead by example. They stand for what is right and good. And so I know enough about the things that we discuss and so on, and talk about social justice. And I would say begins to give us some examples, but it's just interesting. It's not all of that. And yes, every type has something in it that we don't particularly like. um, I mean, from and because we're having this conversation, so just to have some fun with this, with all those descriptions, Shanaz, which type do you think I am?
Oh gosh, I was I was wait. I think that you are like, okay, I forgot some of it, but there are elements that you sacrifice for others. I think also that I will need to have a look at it again to kind of think about it because I was preoccupied by that, by my own one.
I
Sorry,
tell you what.
and I tried to think of, but no, but I could. Yeah, I mean, I think you. What are you? Which? Yeah, you can tell us.
Oh yeah, of course I can tell you.
Yes.
Mine, I've measured as a type 7, an
Okay.
enthusiastic visionary. Mm.
Oh yes, but actually that was what I was, but I couldn't remember which number it was. But you do have that yeah, the action visionary. But I think that there are also elements again of number one. In terms of yeah, number one. But I think that definitely the dominant one is probably the visionary, particularly with how many. I was gonna say, is it now 1 million? Young people that you're trying to reach. Yes. So that tells me already your goals for the internships and things, for the
Yeah,
practice, the
yeah,
Mufasa or the Griffin Foundation,
yeah.
tells me about how yeah, your visionary qualities that you have. So yeah.
uh, anyway, that was a bit of fun, and we've got 5 minutes left. So I'm going to try and just touch on some of this, but it's a lot. So maybe this is just to whet the appetite to really do some research into the Enneagram tool, and even to go and take. You can go onto the integrative Enneagram site and do an assessment, or they can do what was yours, Shanaz? The different assessment that you, it's the same,
It
it's an
is
Enneagram
yes,
assessment,
it is the institute, the Enneagram Institute.
the Enneagram Institute. So it's one of those
Yeah,
things, you Google it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
whichever one you like, you can take it, etc. I like the integrative Enneagram one because it really is a rich assessment that, and to Claudine's point, it really combines a lot of the different types, and it shows you how you can literally take, it's like begin to take on the characteristics of the different types in different situations, and you can actually build new habits. And so basically it is stealing from the constructive habits of the other types, and that is part and parcel of your growth, and especially as a leader, um, and cultivating self-awareness. And this is really the point, um, that self-awareness is as critical as technical competency. And at research, and I mean, when I say research, I humbly say that, Shanaz, but I'm just referring to what the book says, is that research also shows that confidence and creativity come from seeing ourselves clearly. We build stronger relationships, perform better, and lead more effectively, which in turn leads to more profitable companies. So, being self aware means not allowing your patterns to function on autopilot. And so how do you start becoming more self-aware? And it's interesting is that you can focus your mind to become stronger through mindfulness exercises such as meditation, and within meditation, breathing, and so forth. The other thing that you do is to become curious as you start each day with the aim of learning something and ending with a reflection on what you've learned. And through this way, you build personal growth into your daily routine. The other thing, and this is obviously where it is leadership specific, well, it has a leadership context to it, is honor your commitments. Uh, it's about doing what you say you're going to do, and also knowing when to say no. And we've discussed this also many times. Choose your team carefully, and this is something that I think is, as I need to emphasize. We talk about, yeah, select the members of your team and then build them, but from this self-awareness angle, it is once you understand yourself and the way you work, you can bring together people who complement you, and I like that. So I can immediately, so for me, reading this is like, okay, but this is the benefit, the win for somebody, if they don't actually, if they believe that self-awareness is too soft a topic, or too soft a skill to try and develop, is clearly it impacts tangibly on how you select people in your team, for your team. And so finally, as you pay attention, so you practice being present, and there are meditation exercises that can help you with that. So I'm not going to get into that because I think there's all kinds of ways, breathing techniques, people call different things. Shanaaz, on one of the talks we had, you shared about just dealing with anxiety and different tools you can use to even deal with that, to become more present. So I'm not going to go through all of it. So yes, we're out of time, and I'm going to stop it right there, and saying, well, I hope that at least to anybody listening to this, and for those of you present, is that we're curious enough to know what our types are, but also the underlying message is understanding that becoming more self-aware who we are and how we are in relation to others around us help us build teams. And when we build teams, effective teams, this is how we are effective as leaders. But it's not just leaders, it's not just leadership positions that we're taking on. I mean, in any organization, in a family, how do you take leadership in your family? How self-aware are you within a family context, social context, and therefore an understanding that well, I'm limited to use that word, but it may translate into becoming far more successful, and it impacts on relationships, and that's the key. Build stronger relationships, lasting relationships, functional relationships. And we've often spoken about that on the journey of life. To enjoy this journey of life, we travel with others, we do life with others, and we not islands and isolated in what we do. Anyway, that's me for today. Anybody, Claudine, have you got something to say? And then I'm gonna give Shanaaz the last words.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me, Shanaaz. It was very enlightening and a reminder again to be a little bit more self-aware. Um, yeah, I think I need to work on that a little bit more. I think I've lagged a little bit. Um, but I'm going to Google and see if I can find those tests and maybe do them and just see where I am at on that front in terms of being self-aware and yeah, and how I then show up um, with others. So
Mm.
thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Claudine. That was excellent. Shanaaz?
Hi, thank you, Jacques, for that. Yes, it reminded me of my type again, and then it reminded me also of why I find a colleague who shares a course with me challenging. And so I go to my default, which is I want to do the right thing and right by the students, etc. And I think that has made me I need to go back to look at my type, and raise my awareness around my type so that I can lead on this course more effectively, and not be passive and then reactive defensive when the colleague does something that I don't agree with, and be aware with, where that's coming from me. So thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it definitely it's made me aware again that I need to go back and look at my type and see what I need to work on. Thanks.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, one and all, for joining us this afternoon. And for those of you listening, we can only encourage you: self awareness, become more self aware, because that drives being present in your life, this journey called life, in everything that you're doing, so that you can intensely enjoy your life. That's what we want you to do. And so until next week, have a wonderful week. I know in some cases it's cold in South Africa and it's wet in the UK. Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Juliet.